Okay. All right, well, welcome everyone. It's so awesome to see your faces. You don't know how much I have missed seeing your faces. Please let me know if anything on my side of the screen or technology goes awry. You are our first audience, so we thank you very much for your patience today and practicing our new presentation and some new tools with you. And I'm really excited to introduce you to my team who will be doing the heavy lifting of this presentation and who will be a support for you when you need sustainability programming this year.
Are they muted?
Did she freeze?
I think she might have frozen. We can just, oh, she's back.
So sorry. All right, and Jake will get us started with the next exercise.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jake Abney. I am the Earth Reps Coordinator. Woo! And I'll get started on a land acknowledgement. At the SRC, we believe in the framework of decolonization. Decolonization is a dramatic reimagining of relationships with land, people, and the state. The SRC recognizes that the area now known as UC Irvine is within the traditional ancestral homelands of the Tonva, Serrano, Fernandino, Cahuilla, Ahashiman, Luiseño, Ipai, Cupino, Tipai, and Mexican peoples. Additionally, these lands have been shaped by Latino, Japanese, Vietnamese, Filipino, and Chinese laborers who have built roads and railroads and worked California crop fields, as well as the African Americans in the Civil Conservation Corps that helped make Southern California National Parks what they are today. We begin all of our sessions with land acknowledgement. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes that and respects Indigenous peoples as traditional stewards of this land, an enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. Orange County, including the site of UC Irvine, is located on the shared territory of the Hashiman and Tonva Native tribes. Indigenous communities and communities of color, both here and in Southern California and around the world, are often leading the social movement for environmental balance, economic vitality, and social justice. We believe these communities have a lot to teach about the topic. Many of these communities are facing economic disparity and injustice and do not have access to the land and resources necessary to sustain traditional practices. And I believe you guys have all looked up your land acknowledgement and seen what Indigenous peoples have been on your land. I'm sorry, what Indigenous peoples were originally on the land that you currently reside. So today we have an interactive presentation. We will take care to elicit the good thinking and wisdom of people in this room. We each bring into this room experiences and knowledge from multiple sources, including our own lives, that should inform the ways we come to think about climate change, sustainability, and community resilience. We also want to recognize that safety can be relative. Because of our different social identities and experiences of oppression and privilege, it can be difficult to feel safe in our society, especially in the context of discussing issues of social justice, which can be uncomfortable. We'd like to offer the idea of creating a brave space together. A brave space is a term developed by Bootstrom and Mickey Scott Bay Jones so that we can have the courageous conversations and act from the heart. I was wondering if anyone wanted to volunteer and read our invitation to a brave space.
I'll read it.
Awesome, thank you, Talon.
An invitation to a brave space. Together we will create brave space because there is no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and we all have caused wounds in this space. We seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. This space will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together. And we will work on it side by side. By Mickey Scott Bay Jones.
Thank you. That was beautiful. We are feeling this moment. We are feeling the connections between the overlapping crises, and it takes bravery to show up in this moment. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. The next piece is our community practices for today. Really quickly, we have together, which is honoring the confidentiality and privacy of this space, making space when needed, being a good listener, and then taking space and speaking up when needed as well. Being present and committed. I know it's hard, but avoid multitasking where you can. If you share today, please speak from the I. Feelings are welcome, as is self and collective care if you need to step away. Practice generous listening, learn from the differences, and expect and accept non-closure. We are going to touch on a lot of topics today, and we're just going to barely scratch the surface of some of them. So this is just the beginning of the way we want to interact with you throughout this year. Are there any additional practices that you all have in AV or among your group that you all would like to add here? Please speak up or write them in the chat if that's easier. Well, this is of course a living document, so we can add to them as we go along. So if we haven't met, again, I'm Rachel, and I'm really excited to be your host today and introduce you to our team. My partner in non-crime is Udara Abisekara. She is not with us today, but she is the coordinator at the Sustainability Resource Center, is another great resource and connection for you all. And then of course we have our 2021 team. You've met Jake, today you'll also meet Sam, Victoria, and Kara, and Julian is on with us. Julian, former AV resident. And what we're going to talk about this morning is what is sustainability, learn a little bit about sustainability practices across the UC, some updates on a fun topic that we always bring you, which is zero waste, tell you a little bit more about what the SRC does, ways you can get involved. We hope to fit in a break this morning. Then we have a little action planning and scenario of practice of understanding our spheres of influence as people who can take action. Resource rundown of all the things we have to offer you and where you can find them when you need them, and a closing share. But to get us started today, I need to pass the mic to one of your own, which is Boomy. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. She has bravely volunteered to kick us off with a creative share. In the spirit of creating an interactive space, she is going to start with something new and different to get us all in the right frame of mind. So please take it away.
Hi guys, my name's Boomy. Pronouns are she, her, hers. I am your AVSC Service and Sustainability Chair. So I'm just going to start off by talking about my personal connection to sustainability. I've always kind of been passionate about sustainability. I like being outdoors. I find it calming and peaceful. And my name Boomy means earth and land, the physical land that we live on. So call it fate or coincidence, but caring about the planet has always been secondhand nature to me almost. And my goal for this year is really to connect residents with the different avenues in which they can contribute to sustainability, regardless of their interests. So not everyone is going to be like me, where they like going outside and they like gardening. And so my goal is really just to connect people to different ways in which they can be more sustainable in whatever aspect of their lives they see fit, whether it's where they're working or through their hobbies, how they how they travel or the purchases they make. So really my goal for this year is just to map out those different ways that we can connect people to more unique habits if they don't find the topic of sustainability particularly interesting. And I know that SRC is going to be a really big resource to me in my programming this year, so I just want to thank you in advance. And also thank you to Rachel for reaching out to me and letting me share this morning.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Give her some love in the chat and with your reactions. There are many folks in your community, probably many that I don't know, who are already sustainability and climate resilience champions. So as we said, we want to draw on the wisdom of this group moving forward. All right, coming up next, I'll toss it back to Jake for a little thermometer exercise and a chance for you to use your annotation tools.
So if we could all go up to, it's on the top of my screen, but it's under view options, and we click view options and we go to annotate and go over to the stamps. We have different stamps for you guys to use. So if I'm going to put a little stamp next to each question, and on the thermometer, I want you to, could we have all the questions up? Or should we do that like one at a time? Okay. And then on the thermometer, I would like if you could use your the corresponding stamp to illustrate how comfortable you are defining or answering each question on the thermometer. So for example, I understand the definitions of sustainability and climate change. You might put your arrow down here, or you might put your arrow all the way up here. So if we could all do that, that would be wonderful. So while we're waiting here, I can just read off the statements. So the first one is, I understand the definitions of sustainability and climate change. The second one is, I believe that the crisis in social, economic, and environmental inequity are related. The third one is, I know what my campus and community is doing to address these crises, and I feel I can make an impact. I'm seeing a lot of answers above halfway, which is good.
Yeah, it's great wherever you are. I think it might be interesting if you want to type into the chat, or if anyone wants to unmute and say on any of these, where are you? And what would it take for you to move closer to 100? All right. Let's see. Thanks everyone for annotating. We'll move on to the next part of our exercise. But I just want to say, this is a great tool for you all to use with your residents, and we're going to show you a few other interactive tools. The next one coming up is one of our favorites. Oh, shoot, I need to clear those. Annotate more. There we go. And Sam's going to put a link in the chat where we're all going to navigate together. And Jake will describe our next activity.
So this is a tool called Padlet. We've been using it in some of the trainings that we've done. And I think it's a really good tool to allow us to all collectively make our own separate definitions and participate together simultaneously. So this Padlet will be answering the question of what is sustainability. So sustainability means more than meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In addition to natural resources, we also need social and economic resources. Sustainability is not just environmentalism, it's also different types of climate justice, racial justice, social justice, and all of that jazz. So I want you guys to either add phrases, images, or links within this Padlet. You would just go to the bottom right on the little plus, and then just start typing away and submitting it. So if you guys could all do that, that would be wonderful. If you saw something really cool on Instagram that you wanted to screenshot and share, that'd be great as well.
So yeah, if you all see the little plus in the side, you can add things, you can add behaviors, you can add, you hit the little plus down in the corner. You can add in links, you can add in GIFs. We love this tool. And then you can also move whatever you make around. You can draw connections between things. And you can use the thumbs up and the comment feature to say, oh yeah, I agree with that. Or here's more, here's what I'm thinking about that. Love it. And we'll be sure to send you these links after the presentation. And you are also welcome to come off of mute and tell us about the things that you're adding. All right, can you all see the whole screen okay? Yeah, I'm seeing lots of things that are across the many spheres of sustainability, making good connections here between increasing minimum wage. Just gonna check our time here. We have about 2 more minutes for folks to add ideas or share with us. Or take a minute to look at what your peers are adding, give them a thumbs up, give them some comments. I love it. Just moving these around for you a little bit. Awesome. Does anybody want to share something that they added? Tell us a little bit more about it before we move on, or tell us what you're seeing.
And so I just shared, try to value our planet over profit, as in, valuing that this is the only planet that we have, and like the resource that we have to live here and everything. So, yeah.
Thank you. I love it. I also love this one, this black one here in the middle. I'm hearing too much recycle, compost, go vegan, and not acknowledging that corporations cause 71% of emissions. That's definitely something we're going to talk about today after the break. And how do we not feel powerless in those situations? So again, we're going to give you the link to this, and this is something you all can continue to use. Padlet is a free, gives you 3 free boards, but I just want to hop over and show you that there is a not quite so fancy, but another free version of this through Google called Google Jamboard, where you can do the same thing with your residents for free, and you can even create that thermometer like we had before in space, and use this program instead if you're unable to use Jamboard to its full capacity. We broke down and got a paid account because we love it so much. All right, I'm gonna try to clear those annotations. And I'm gonna next introduce you to our staff member, Victoria. Oh, sorry, I'm on annotate. There we go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria. I'm the Res Life coordinator. So y'all had a lot of different ideas about sustainability, and technically everybody is right because sustainability is very holistic. And an easy way to remember it is enough for everyone forever. And it has 3 pillars, and that's planet, people, and prosperity. And I'm going to walk y'all through it with this example of an avocado. So when we think about planet and an avocado, we're thinking about how much water went into growing that avocado. Was there like agricultural runoff from the soil, like from nitrogen and phosphorus? And were there any pesticides being used to grow that avocado? When we're thinking about people, we're thinking about the social equity around the avocado. So we're thinking about, is it fair trade? Are the workers being treated and compensated fairly? Like recently with the wildfires, we're seeing that farmers are still working despite the conditions. And when we're thinking about prosperity, we're thinking about who is that avocado accessible to? And is it available everywhere? And this framework basically allows us to question what is enough and who counts when we say everyone, and how do we account for forever. And in line with this, our housing values and our learning outcomes, our focus is bringing about changes that put us in the right relationship with humans and other non-human beings in our ecosystem. And the SRC right now is meeting the moment through community-driven climate resilience. So at the SRC, we're about root causes. And if you've seen our presentations in the past, we focused a lot on waste minimization and recycling, but we haven't quite articulated that these are interconnected to a broader movement. And building climate resilience calls for a holistic view of the challenges we face and the solutions at the intersection of people, the environment, and the economy. Systems and ecological thinking can help restore and cultivate balance within and between human communities and between the rest of the natural world. And in today's dominant narrative, social justice and environmental issues are seen as separate. But environmentalism is more than just about halting climate change to save the planet. It's intersectional. So climate change will also affect different people differently. And the dominant culture today has deeply disconnected from the natural world, and is kind of making nature seem as if it's a commodity to be used up. However, humans are not separate from nature. We are an integral part of it. Our lives are completely dependent upon air quality, water quality, food, soil, health, and resilience of the web of life. The environmental issues directly affect our well-being and survival of humanity and our social issues. And marginalized communities are often on the front lines of environmental justice, and extractive industries are often cited in low-income communities and communities of color and they experience a disproportionate impact from issues of contamination, toxic waste, resource extraction, and ecological collapse. And here I would like to invite somebody to read this quote.
I can. It says, historically, pandemics has forced humans to break the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It's a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us, or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it.
So thank you. So for the rest of the session and after our upcoming break, we invite you to join us in this moment of visioning a new future. The transition between the pre-COVID world and whatever comes after is being shaped. We can and should take time to construct and explore our collective views, concerns, like what kinds of experience and interactions might we want to create, and what kinds of systems might we build, and how will we move forward enough for everyone forever, and just to envision what's next. And I'll pass it over to Sam.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam. I'm the office coordinator for the SRC, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about sustainability in the UC. So as you may or may not already know, UC campuses have developed a series of sustainability goals and strategies called the UC Sustainable Practices Policy that guides their sustainability efforts. UCI is actually a leader in sustainability, receiving numerous sustainability awards, including the #1 cool school in the US last year and the top 10 over the past 10 years by Sierra Magazine, which is a very influential sustainability magazine. Sustainability guidelines extend across all aspects of campus life, from climate and energy all the way down to community with the UCI strategic plan. Some recent highlights of our efforts include achieving 81% waste diversion, which means 81% of waste that might have gone to landfills instead went to recycling and compost. Expanding vegetarian and vegan options offered at every food station in Brandywine. Created and strengthened virtual platforms during the remote learning shift. And we replaced 7,500 square feet of turf grass with drought-tolerant grass, projected to save 75,000 gallons of water each year. We have a whole network of the community as a whole network with 200 plus faculty, 20 plus staff, and 25 plus campus organizations. So already there's a lot to be proud of.
One of our important goals involves reducing the amount of materials sent to landfill, as Sam was talking about earlier, or endeavoring to be zero waste. We typically offer waste audits and waste sorting demonstrations to help residents learn about the waste profiles at UCI and how to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Though this fall we will not be able to offer these programs in person, we want to empower you to share about zero waste with your community. Engaging in the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, can be a new behavior for residents, and it can be an important first step on their journey to learning more about sustainability. Waste touches environmental, social, economic realms of personal and social responsibility. When we throw something away, our waste purchasing, generation, and disposal impacts communities near and far who face the negative effects of pollution.
Thank you. I just want to jump in here and say last year AV hosted their first live waste audit. It was pretty spectacularly organized, and you all did an awesome job. You had a very high waste diversion rate. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was in the 40s, which is a good 10, 15 points above your other undergraduate communities. So great job. And I would say also that AV is on our list. We're still deciding for the sustainability champion for last year, but all of the great activity we saw that was just about to burst forth before we were sent home from AV has you at the very top of our list for being a champion in sustainability in our department.
Thank you very much, Rachel. An important first step for achieving zero waste and in teaching the 3 R's is you can assist us by making sure to cover the 3 primary waste streams that we hold at UCI in your first hall meeting with residents. These are landfill, trash, compost for all the food wastes and organics, recycling for clean and dry paper, plastics, glass, and metals. So if you have any questions about the waste stream, it would be lovely if you could post your questions in the chat.
Yeah, we'll make this slide available to you, sending you these resources later today, and hope you can work this into the facilitation guide for your first hall meeting. If you have any pressing questions, please type them in or shout them out.
So at UCI, we are trying to meet our zero waste goal. And the #1 way that we can help reach our zero waste goal is by reduction. In the 3 R cycle, reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduction comes first. We'll email you a link of our department green and event guidelines, simple and easy tips for reducing waste at any program. And when you're ready, we have lots of ideas. We'll invite you to assist any programming and planning. With the current pandemic, we are going to see an increase in disposables, but at UCI, we want to encourage everyone to be using reusable masks, reusable cutlery and cups and stuff like that. Remember, soap and water helps kill the coronavirus. So using reusable items rather than disposable is better for our environment. At UCI, we also have these touchless water filters. They have an antiviral light at the top, so they're 100% safe to use, so we can discourage use of bottled water as well.
Yeah, so can you hear me? Let me see. We know that you are just getting started learning about the new residential curriculum, learning goals and outcomes. And we are busy adapting all of our program materials to fit that for you and make it easy to slide into what you're already doing. So here with Zero Waste, we're linking that to the new Anteaters Living and Learning Goal of Personal Responsibility. And we have a chart here that's easy for you to understand of being able to articulate their value of minimizing waste and sorting waste properly. And we have a couple of other tools to help you with this when you're ready to implement, such as a bulletin board kit. Here is a link to our programmer website, and we'll be sure to send this along later, but in there you'll find a bulletin board kit with this poster and other in-hall program facilitation guides, slide decks, scripts, all kinds of things that you can use to share about zero waste in your hall, including a new document called Green Event Guidelines. I won't open it up right now for the sake of time, but we encourage you to take a look at that as a team. Those were drafted by Victoria and the members of RHA last year and have now been approved by the Res Life Pro staff. So written by students to empower students to make any event reduce waste and increase sorting. For our last section before the break, I'm going to toss it back to Sam.
Hello again. So here you can see the Sustainability Resource Center's mission and vision. And you can read that on your own, but I'll just read a little bit from it. The first sentence, the SRC unleashes youth leadership for community resilience to a changing climate and cultivates a campus culture of sustainability. And we've seen a few of the ways already that we've been doing that. We do this as a physical hub ordinarily for students to have these conversations and organize, and by providing resources, education, and programming to forward environmental balance, economic vitality, and social equity. The SRC emerged in 2012 and has been a site of cross-campus and interdepartmental collaboration. As of July 1st, 2020, the SRC formally joined Student Life and Leadership and gained new siblings like the Latinx Resource Center, the LGBT Resource Center, SOAR, and many others. And we continue to work closely with Student Housing Sustainability, whose team is co-located at the SRC. Through that lens of cross-campus collaborations, we wanted to start by giving you an overview of campus sustainability and then share about SRC programs and ways you can get more involved in sustainability during your time as an anteater. We have this sort of intimidating list of all of our different programs. The SRC is anchored by a physical resource center offering the host student services. Students come into the SRC ordinarily via our affirmative outreach programs, internship and fellowship placements, and our trainings. Our student and staff team cooperates actions with campus and community partners to build skills and experience along 3 sustainability pathways: training, campus as a living laboratory, and global engagement and immersion. And as you can see under those 3 pathways and programs, there are a lot of different subsections that we offer. And we'll talk about a couple more of those as we go on. Here are a few of the SRC's services and resources. We see here the e-Digest and Sustainability Calendar, which highlights sustainability events. Once fall quarter begins, we will be sending out a weekly digest or a newsletter that contains various sustainability related events as they appear. And I'm sending a link in case you should all sign up for that digest. On our website, we also have a student opportunities database, which contains on and off campus opportunities for volunteer work, internships, jobs, and scholarships that gets regularly updated. This is a new one. We have the Sustainability Spot, which is the blog on our website. Any student can submit a blog on a sustainability related topic, and our editors review it, and then we can post it. The instructions for that are on the website. We also host meetings of the Sustainability Co-Curricular Working Group, which is a collaborative gathering of student leaders and staff to share updates and knowledge of programs, events, and opportunities. Our first meeting for that will be during week 1, so stay tuned for that, as well as consultation and career counseling, which we'll be stepping back from because you have to go to the center physically, but we will still offer it if you want to reach out. Another final new service is the Seed Library, which we just recently opened. It's in Palo Verde, I believe. So it's
Verano
just
Place.
Verano Place, that's it. I knew it was one of them. So it's in Verano Place, and it's what was formerly the Seed Library in our own center is now sort of a depot that you can go and pick up seeds to start your own garden.
Yes, and we have a second one ready to be installed in Arroyo Vista. If you could help us to lobby your operations staff, who we know are super, super busy, but the Seed Library is this adorable little newspaper container. There's a picture of it on our Instagram, and we will be installing it on the pavement outside the AV garden, along with some pots and a way for folks to get soil, so everyone can engage in some container gardening if they don't want to get involved in the garden itself. Yeah, super. And I would say your AV Student Council helped to pay for that last year with the end of the year fund, so we're super excited about it. Yeah, OMG, so excited, I know. I can hardly, when I first, it's like my baby. So excited. It's bright yellow, so you'll see it when it's out there. With that, I think we're all set for our break. Are there any questions or outstanding things my team want to say before we take a little break? I will pause the recording.
First, we actually have a question. It's from
Yeah.
Talon. He says, how does the seed library work? Do we pay for seeds or are they free?
Oh, awesome. So let me see if I can get you a picture. That will probably be better. I'm a visual person. Oh, wrong one. Let's see. Where are you? Sorry. So this is a snapshot of our programmer website, and there is a thing on the seed library here. The seed library is free. We pay for the seeds, and we have a partnership going with San Diego Seed Company, which is local organic non-GMO seeds. So it looks like this beautiful little old newspaper rack here. You open it up, and then there's a QR code on the packet or on the thing and a link where you come here, and anyone who uses it will just need to, number one, register their seeds so we can see what you're getting and let us know if you need any additional support. And then we'll come back maybe a month later in the feedback form and see how it went. There's Alex Liu. He is the ASUCI Garden Commissioner. And we have on here a growing guide link to every single thing that's available in the seed library. So the link leads you back here to click on the exact product, and you can learn more about it and how to plant it and what to do. And we will have garden hours available in the fall with our staff. So I'm going to stop the recording here, and if everyone could come back at 9:50, we'll join you for the second part. Thanks so much for being an awesome audience. And to look at something far away, rest your eyes. We had up here during the break a tool that you can use with residents, an incomplete tool, as we'll discuss, but a footprint calculator to help folks think about their contributions. So we're going to talk about that in the next section and problematize it as well. We'll just give folks another second to join us again. Click through here, see if I can see all your faces. Awesome. Okay, and let's see. I lost my notes. Okay. So as you have heard today, we are very interested in root causes, which may not be lifted or unveiled when you do an ecological footprint calculator. And we are especially interested in community-led movements. And as UCI, we are especially interested in the voices of youth. So we hope this video inspires you with the power of youth leading the way. And take a second to watch this. Let me know if you can hear the sound. Wait. No sound? Was there sound? Oh, okay.
There was no sound.
Let me make sure I have my computer sound on. There we go. Is that better?
It kind of like fades in and then fades out. And now it's gone. Rachel, is there a button next to your view options that says share computer sound somewhere?
What? I can't hear it yet.
Rachel, do you hear us? I don't know if she can hear us.
If someone has the link and can screen share it, that might fix the problem.
Okay, I'm declaring martial law. I'm going to share my own screen.
Thank you, Sam.
Oh, sorry, I'm back. Was I frozen? I could see lots of smiles, so something must have happened.
Let me, it's okay.
I think Sam's going to take the screen share.
Okay, did you guys stop halfway through the video?
It's up to us, the youngest generation, to stand
Can you hear it?
Yes.
up and ignite a movement that will change the mindset of every person on this planet. In fact, I believe it's what we were born to do. And the reality is, we don't really have a choice. The earth is calling us. Future generations are screaming at us.
We're fighting against these dirty politicians, these corporations that want to desecrate our sacred land. But I'm saying no. And many people, millions of people in this world are saying no.
When I was 9, I got together with 13 of my friends or so, and we got pesticides out of our parks. We called ourselves the Earth Guardians. And now there are hundreds of thousands of young people all over the world that are rising up as Earth Guardians in communities all over the place. One dope thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to sue this government. Myself and 20 other youth plaintiffs are filing a lawsuit to hold our federal government accountable for violating our constitutional inalienable right to life, liberty, and property because of their inaction on climate change.
I got involved with climate activism when I was 12 years old. I joined a campaign to stop a development proposal in my home state of Maine. When I got to high school, I wanted to continue doing this work and I wanted all of my friends to be involved, but there was no environmental club. So I started one and we called it the Climate Action Club. We raised enough money to install solar panels on our school. We had the largest reusable bag campaign in Maine. We also galvanized this really big movement in our community. Then I went to Harvard and I co-founded Divest Harvard. At our first meeting, we had 10 people in a room and none of us knew what we were doing. Now, in our third year, we have 70,000 people that have signed on to our campaign.
I'm very proud of the youth that are standing up. I'm very proud to see the essence in the children because that's beautiful and we cannot take that away. But it's what is in your heart, that fire lit within inside you. And that fire is rising in the youth and you could feel it. You could feel it in the ground. You can hear it in the trees. You can feel it in the air.
It's a revolution that will ignite the compassion in every person's heart so they consider our future with every decision they make. So the time has now come for us to take matters into our own hands. So now let me ask you, who is ready to stand up, unite together across generations, and start a revolution that is so loud, so provocative, and so unquestioning that we will be impossible to ignore. Let's make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you for hopping in, Sam. Can you all hear me now? Thumbs up. Okay, great. I was intently watching the video and then I could see Nicholas with this giant grin on his face and I was like, is it funny? Did I miss it? Is something funny? So thanks for hanging in there. I love that video. Any reactions? You can type them in the chat or shout them out. Inspiring. I'm going to put a link here. We have over 25 student orgs at the UCI campus that are linked to sustainability broadly. And we have a new chapter of the Sunrise Movement, which I don't think is linked there, Sam. Let's get that up and get people connected as well. And they have weekly meetings. So there's lots of things going on in our community and ways that you can get involved in whatever speaks to you. I'm supposed to share the slides again now, huh? All right, fine. Hopefully no more sound. All right. So during the break, we asked you to look at footprint calculators, but also to think can you see everything good? Yeah, awesome. To think further about the footprint of your hall, your community, your department, the campus, your community, and beyond. An important lesson for us is that the patterns we practice at the small scale can set the pattern for the whole system. And a great metaphor for this is the fractal. Would someone like to read this quote for me?
I can read the quote. A fractal is a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. The patterns of the universe repeat at scale. What we practice at the small scale sets the patterns for the whole system.
Awesome, thank you. This is from Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Marie Brown, who's one of our key sources of movement building and lessons at the SRC. I encourage you to check out her work and follow her on Instagram. What she's saying is that everyone contributes to the pattern. Just like the symmetrical spiral of a succulent, our actions create a repeating process, an ongoing feedback loop. We see this happen with negative things that happen at a small scale and blow out to the larger scale, but the same thing can happen with positive action and organizing. It allows us to see and act and understand the value of our actions in a larger system. So please note, just like with the footprint calculator, we do not conflate behavior changes such as recycling with being done or being complete. Rather, noting that there are decisions and actions we can take on multiple levels that are a force for change. Of course, we want to hold polluters accountable. Of course, we want to attack policies and systems that favor inequity. Adrienne Marie Brown writes in her chapter on fractals, quoting another elder, Grace Lee Boggs, "Transform yourself to transform the world. We can see our lives and work and relationships as the front line, a place where we can practice justice, liberation, and right relationship with each others and the planet." So in this next exercise, we want to discuss how through the choices we make, the products we choose, the vendors and policies we support or challenge, we can be a force for change in our positions at UCI. Borrowing again from another important organization called movementstrategy.org, they write that the capacity for transformation flows from the internal to the interpersonal, to the structural and the cultural. Yes, we want folks to look at their own habits and how they contribute to emissions or pollution or resource use, but we know that you have influence in other spheres. Your role as a housing staffer gives you some power and some influence to create community action, campus action, question policies, move cultural shifts, and even global collaborations. American culture, we're seeing this a lot right now, traditionally places great emphasis on the individual and the individual's capacity to make things happen. But this can also blind us to the enormous impact of structures and systems in our lives, the external aspects that frustrate or overwhelm our best intentions to change. So this moment is about individuals learning and growing and unlearning, but it's also about creating a community of care. So we invite you to a vision with us on how we can make waves, interrupt systems, and act for change on various levels. Sam's gonna put our next Padlet into the chat for everyone. And we're gonna ask you to engage in another brainstorming activity. where you can identify steps in the different spheres from the personal to the global of how we can be forces for change. I'm going to switch over. Can you all see this here? Awesome. So please take some time here to add your ideas. We put some examples in there. Again, you can add links, you can add GIFs, you can add photos. And we're going to share this with you afterwards. So this is something where you can crowdsource ideas as an Arroyo Vista team of how you want to shape your sustainability journey this year. Again, I should have played some music during this, sorry. Wait. Oh, Kennedy asked, what does fair trade mean? Does anybody else want to try to answer that question before I tackle it? Victoria?
Sure. Fair trade basically means that the price you pay for a product is like the person growing the food or the person who made the product is getting compensated fairly, versus like if, let's say, like a shirt was $5, like you have to look into why it was $5 and how much the people who actually made it are getting paid, and it could often be like just a few cents that they're getting paid.
So UCI is a fair trade campus. That means that in all of our dining commons and all of our retail locations, we have a lot of products that are fair trade certified, and you can look for that logo or other similar logos. We also have some that are rainforest certified. So it means that in production, things are organic, that labor is paid, and people are compensated equally for the products they are creating. And often there's money given back into those communities to invest in education or healthcare as well. So this is often for products from cotton, coffee, tea, chocolate, so many things you can look for. And we have a lesson about that we need to adapt to ALL, but that you can easily bring into your hall programs. Last year, Mesa Court decided that 10% of their programming budget would be used on fair trade. So that meant any RA or programmer who was purchasing something had to look for fair trade options. Something to consider. All right. All right. Any comments here? You know, we've spent a lot of time thinking about personal behavior change, so sometimes those are the easiest to come up with. But at the campus and societal and cultural ones are equally important and can reduce that feeling of powerlessness from that individual. But seeing, again, that fractal, that pattern of moving outward. Check my time here. So while you all are adding, this is a time where I'm going to ask you all to be brave and share what you wrote, share about your idea. What are you seeing? Where are we falling short? What are ways you want to contribute? Feel free to come off mute and give us your ideas. What would you like to see happen this year?
feel the most comfortable interacting in my own personal and like friends and family sphere right now because I feel like I'm just not educated enough in sustainability to go beyond. But something that I really want to work on this year is educate myself in more like legislation and what's happening in the world regarding sustainability during COVID and ways that like other people in the community can get involved and help.
Okay. I'm going to challenge you here. Anybody have more ideas at a campus level of what else we could put here? Even my team, we haven't fully gone through this exercise ourselves. What are some things you're thinking about at a campus level?
For me, I think it'd be cool to see like a sustainability committee or rep in different like housing communities or organizations. Like clubs have different board members, and it'd be cool to see like a sustainability person for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think many of you out there, you're in all different educational departments. There's no reason that your school or department couldn't have a sustainability person or a sustainability moment in the office. How do we make our office buildings more sustainable? How do we make sure that these intersectional topics are being brought into the classroom? How do we look for scholarships for students from communities that are facing environmental injustice? A program on campus I encourage you to check out along those lines is UCI Community Resilience, which is looking specifically at empowering UCI students to do advocacy work in their own impacted communities. All right, I'm going to stop my share.
So I was wondering if I could add one more to the list. It goes across every influence.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have an election coming up in November again.
Mm-hmm.
I was bringing this up all the time because it is important. Right now we have a lot of sustainability efforts, a lot of ecological. They were turned around in the last 4 years. A lot of stuff was done. Your sphere of influence is that we can't tell people which side to vote for. You can really get them out there to vote, and if they're not just for the presidency, but I'm going to throw this question out. I don't expect an answer. How many of you know your state representatives? California has a lot of Republican and Democrat representatives. You should know, and your residents should know, wherever they live, who the representatives, because that changes Congress. We are two senators in Democratic House, but in the Congress, a lot of Republican representatives, especially in Southern California. So cross the sphere of influence, family, friends, your residents, the campus, get out the vote. Get people to vote and get them to vote about what's really important out there. There are ecological bills on the agenda to be voted on this year too. So there's a lot of great sites to learn about it, but get the vote out. Get your residents to vote.
Thank you. Wise words right now at this moment. Anybody else want to share something they're seeing or thinking about?
I was saying to like for holidays like Christmas or any like holiday that people celebrate, you could give like plant gifts or like seeds for your family members to plant around or like for your friends to plant and just to start that cycle of gardening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think especially this pandemic at home time, it's been really good to interrogate my purchasing practices. I can't as easily run to the store, so I have to think more critically about where am I getting things and what am I giving. And we really miss hugging our relatives and showing them our appreciation. So it could be a way of rethinking gifts. You know, what are some things that we can give folks or empower our residents with that are interactive, and bring them into doing a wellness hobby or a sustainability hobby. So thank you. We have time for one more share. Anybody else want to comment on an idea they have?
Yes, I can. So I was thinking more of like the education aspect of it, because I took an education course because I'm a bioeducation major, and I found it surprising how a lot of people can't, I guess, agree on the fact that climate change does exist, and it's because they don't know, like there's, I guess, a confusion that scientists are like 50-50 split, but in reality, most scientists do agree that climate change is an issue. So just learning that even like teachers in like elementary classrooms and high schools can't agree on that consensus is kind of like troubling. They don't realize how big of an issue it is because we don't know if the people who teach us about climate change really agree upon it. And the reality is they do, but we get so much, I guess, confusion from media and in unreliable scientific sources. So maybe just the educating area of it first to see the importance.
Mm-hmm. Yes, snaps. There's so much in there, what you said. I'm hearing media literacy is really important right now, really important for all generations right now. There's so much coming at us. It's hard to just tell what is true. And climate change, people have done a kind of terrible job at educating about climate change. You know, professors aren't necessarily
Oops.
The rest of her statement is paid content. I'm sorry.
All right, am I back?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just see you all start to smiling and I'm like, oh, I must have disappeared. Sorry, my son is in online kindergarten right now, so our bandwidth is struggling. Yay, pandemic. But I think I was saying, you know, something that we do a lot in our courses that you all are welcome to jump in on is teach people better modes of popular education. How do we get folks learning about this, discussing this, and doing it in an interactive way that draws on their wisdom and also brings in that technical expertise. So as we keep creating those resources, we'll be sure to share them out. And you all are out there taking the classes. You know, it's been 20 years now since I took a science class. So I do lean on you all and my student staff to keep us on the cutting edge. For our last section today, we're just going to quickly run through some of the resources that we have for you and where to find them. And then we'll be seeing you again as soon as you're ready. So I think I pass it now to Victoria.
Okay.
And I'll share the screen, sorry.
So you can find everything we talked about today, as well as resources for your own programming on our programmer website, linked right there, or you can scan your QR code.
And Sam, maybe drop that in the chat for us. Okay. Anything else, Victoria?
We also have our facilitation guides and bulletin board kits on there as well. And that's it.
All right. Our next team member to introduce ourselves is Kara.
Hi, I'm Kara. I'm this year's Slicker coordinator, and as Victoria was saying, we're going to be releasing some facilitation guides, and many sustainability topics tie into these new RES curriculum learning outcomes. So in support of these wellness learning goals, we're creating facilitation guides on personal resilience, because residents are feeling a lot of different emotions right now, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed by many negative circumstances. So these materials will help you explore tools for self-care and ways that you can combat climate anxiety. We'll be releasing these materials and resources in our newsletter that gets sent out to student staff each month. So keep an eye out for that, or even invite us to help facilitate. Thank you.
Awesome. I don't think folks know what Slicker stands for. You want to tell them?
Oh yeah, so SLICKER stands for Student Leadership Initiative for Climate Resilience.
Yeah, and we typically do that in the summer, but this year we're making it a fall 10-week course. Any of you all are welcome to sit in on it. It's one of those 1.3 Uni Affairs courses, so if you want to join, let us know or participate. Kara and Jake will be our TAs for that experience. Finally, you can find us firing on all cylinders on social media. We have a Pinterest page full of DIY ideas, Instagrams for both Earth Reps and UCI Sustainability Resource Center. We have a YouTube channel that's going to be linked here that's full of playlists about zero waste and other things, and Facebook for both organizations as well.
And I'll talk to you guys about Earth Reps. So I am the Earth Reps coordinator for this year, which is awesome. Earth Reps are, what Earth Reps are, they're a student training and community building internship for undergraduate on-campus residents offering education, skills, and hands-on experience broadly related to sustainability. The Earth Reps will become sustainability ambassadors in student housing. So you can actually request assistance with hall or community programmings using the top link right up there. The program aims to train emerging young leaders, expand campus awareness around sustainability, and build community among students, staff, and faculty. Earth Reps will receive training in substantive sustainability issues, as well as skills for initiating essential conversations among peers, planning hall activities, and community building approaches. So if you are interested, or if one of your residents is interested, we are also recruiting at the bottom link down there as well, which I can actually put in the chat.
Yeah, and those are both on our programmer resource page. So a final member of our team to introduce, who's been patiently waiting, is Julian Martinez. Do you want to say hi, Julian?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thank you for all being here and definitely being, really active in these trainings. We've covered a lot of really important materials today and just kind of throughout the following weeks. So I know it can be a lot to take in right now, but just remember that this is all a progressive. This is a slow progression towards building some sort of generational change. There's no need to be a little intimidated if it seems like you as an individual can't really make a profound impact, because I want to tell you right now that that's not true at all. It literally starts with an individual such as yourself. And for me personally, I guess I'll just kind of finish off with this. I've noticed the most effective way to creating real sustainable change is not just talking about it, but more so kind of seeing it reflect in your actions, and just taking baby steps towards doing that, whether it's using things that are more reusable or being more mindful about how you dispose your trash. It's just a slow progression. And if you start today, then who knows, 10 years from now, you'll look back on this moment and kind of laugh about how scary it might've seemed at first. So yeah, I wish you all the best of luck. And I've been a resident of Aurora Vista for the last couple of years. I'm going to be living here again this year. So, feel free to reach out to me at any point, and I'd be more than happy to contribute to any programming you guys want to create.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. So Julian is returning for a second year as our food waste fellow, focusing on cooking programs and zero waste programming. We have linked on the programmer website, our student written, photographed, and published cookbook. So feel free to download a copy. There's also a set of videos that go along with some of the recipes. You see our friends there in an AV kitchen where it was birthed and practiced. Similarly, I don't think Dominic is on here. I don't see her name. Speak up if you are, but Dominic Kim is our garden fellow for this year. He'll be working with Alex from the ASUCI Garden Commission. We'll have a link that we'll send out in our first newsletter for students who are interested in volunteering in the garden. We're set up for social distancing policies in the return to site plan with your community. And very exciting, I don't know if you all heard, but last year the garden was certified by EH&S as a safe food production zone so that we can donate any produce that we create to residents and directly to the Fresh Hub as well. So we're really hoping to grow that project. Let's see. I think it's Sam's turn again to tell us about some things coming up with sustainability programming.
Yeah, so just a couple of minor things here. This is the Sustainability Salon. So last winter quarter, we hosted one of our esteemed SRC alumni, Rima. She put together this program every week. We had a new speaker come in to talk about, in this case, 10 different facets of sustainability that you can kind of see here. Like one of them was Martin Luther King Jr. Event Week. One of them was student involvement with sustainability. And lunch was provided, which was my favorite part. But they were very enlightening and informative, just hour-long sessions. And we are hoping to continue these pending winter and spring quarter, of course, in some form, depending on how things go. But yeah, we are hoping to deliver similar programming like this for this year as well.
Awesome. If you have ideas for guest speakers or programs you'd like to be seeing happening, we also have capacity to do some socially distanced programs out on the AV lawn or near the garden. Oh, is there a course to enroll in? Why, that's our next screen, Kennedy. Can you read my mind? Yes, so Sam, can you drop this Slicker website in the chat? You can learn more about our fall class. We're also have a meeting today at 3 to take over another program called Campus is a Living Lab that is under, I think, the Center for Environmental Biology, which will be a kind of a level 2 class where folks can be placed with a site on campus, like housing, dining, facilities, what else? UCI Nature, all kinds of places where they have a 1-hour class each week with us, and then they go out and do hours, kind of like a field study at those campus locations to enact informed change. So the application is closed right now for our fall class, but since I know you all and I have the power, if you want to apply, please send me an email, or if you want to sit in, and I'll get that taken care of for you. We have asked for, since it's going to be online, we are going to take up to 40 or so students, and it's going to be awesome. Nicholas has participated in a lot of this already, so if you have questions, you can also check in with him. Cool, and I think we don't have a closing creative share. So that is it. And also that class, it says it's going to be Mondays, 2 p.m. to 3:20 on Mondays. And it will be interactive like this, so we're hoping folks can attend in person. So that is it. I'm going to stop my sharing. Well, we are right on time. Look at us. Way to go, team. Woo! But we'll stay on if you all have questions, comments. And this afternoon, I'll be sure to send you a link to all of the things that we shared today. And I will also be sure to send a little feedback survey. I meant to have it ready and I totally forgot. So it'll be a quick one. You can tell us how we did and what more you need. So thanks, team. Give these sustainability students a round of applause. Sam, Victoria, Jake, Julian, Kara. I could not do it without them. And we'll send it over to Mark unless there's any questions or comments.
No, I think we're good. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. I hope people get inspired to try and do some